Welcome to the tutorial today, and we are going to do tree pose. So it's a balancing pose. So have a wall if you know your balance is a little bit dodgy. Otherwise, let's get started. So I really like tree pose. I find it's quite a grounding pose. So if my head is all over the place, I like to come into it. And it's also not so hard that I'm going to smash my teeth out. So when it comes to any balancing poses, we need to focus on the ground first, obviously. Now, if you're on a really squishy carpet, that's going to make a difference. This mat is not too thick. I have some other yoga mats that are a little bit thicker. That's going to make a difference. So when you're doing balance, you want to make sure that, especially if your balance is quite dodgy, find something that's really solid. If your balance is quite good, then go and find something that's a little bit unstable, because that's going to help your balance to get better, okay? The next thing we look at is the feet and how we ground ourselves onto the floor. So what a lot of people will do, and this could be because of lack of ankle strength or just not being aware of it, when people come into balancing positions, they tend to roll on the outer foot, or even when they come into this position, they roll on the outer foot. So we want to focus on what's called Tadasana feet. So with Tadasana feet, the ball of your foot is grounded into the floor. And if you lift your foot, and you're going to try and slide the side of the foot to the side, and then lift the heel and then spread the heel backwards. So what you're trying to do is make the sole of your foot wider and longer. Okay? The more that can touch the floor, the better the balance. Your toes want to be spread. Okay, so your toes do actually move. I did have someone in a class said, "Oh, I didn't realize my toes move." Yes, they do. So spread your toes. Now, when we come into Tadasana feet, the ankles also want to be working. So I want you to think of this very light suction of the foot, the arch. So I'm gently pushing into the toes, not so much that I'm trying to get the ball of the foot. I can just feel the arch engage. And when you feel the arch engage, I don't know if you can see it, when the arch is engaged, you can see the muscles around here starting to work. Okay? So when you have that little activation of the feet, the ankles are going to start kicking in. Now, when you come to balance, you want to find a spot, not a fly on the wall, a spot that doesn't move. So either on the wall or not right to the front of you, but in the distance, something on the floor, okay, so that it keeps your neck nice and straight as well. So you just start by deciding what are you going to balance on, what are you going to focus on, and you're just going to look at that. So I'm going to work with my right foot. So as I start to bring the weight into the right foot, I'm not just going to sink out that hip. That means this is all switched off. There's no glutes. And remember, your bum is there to support the pelvis, is to make sure that the pelvis is stable. Okay? So when we come into balance, the first thing you want to do is make sure your muscles are active. So you find a spot. As I start to lift this leg, I'm going to start to squeeze this bum. And imagine you're trying to lift out of the hip. So even here, I'm starting to feel a stretch because I want to pull upwards. Okay? So the bum's working, the hips are staying in alignment. So for some people, this might be your tree pose, where I have the other foot just softly on the floor. And that might be your tree pose. Really doesn't matter. The pose itself is irrelevant. Whether you're in it or not in it, it doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is what's going through your head as you're coming into these poses and that you're trying. So are you giving yourself a load of abuse because your balance is bad, or are you it's just yoga. It's just a pose, just exercise. And I know a lot of people will go, "Oh, you are disrespecting the culture." Right now, we're just doing balance. Okay? So the next level is to maybe have the foot on the other foot. But you want to make sure that this bum is working the whole time. The minute you sink out, you're switching off all of these muscles, okay? The tummy is drawn in. You're lengthening, you've got your eye on something opposite you. Okay? And then come out of that. Whew. You see, and when you get the muscles working, you can feel it. Now, the other thing you don't want to do, so as we move up the leg, we don't want to lock out the leg. If you haven't got knee issues and you're not hypermobile in the knee, I'm not hypermobile, so that's when the knee bends backwards. No reason why you can't have a straight leg. However, I do find people, when they straighten their legs, they're not using any muscle. They're just relaxing into there. So I do like to have this very slight little bend. And again, makes the muscles work. That's what we're here for. Okay, so I'm going to do the left foot now just to give the other one a break. So Tadasana feet, the bum's active, tummy's pulled in, the knee is a little bit soft, and I'm focusing on something in front of me. So as you start to get better with your balance, or perhaps you want to try a little harder, you can bring that foot onto the bottom of between the knee and the ankle, not on the knee joint. That's a big, anywhere over there, you do not want to put your foot, okay? So it's going to be over here. Now, one thing about a tree pose is a hip opener. So the leg that you're sending outwards, you're trying to get that knee, to come in alignment with your hip. But if you are quite tight in the hip, as you do that, you don't want, I'm going to exaggerate, so you don't want your hips turning with it, and you will feel that on your supporting knee. It's not going to be very nice, it'll be quite horrible. So your challenge, and this is why I like to use my hands. I've got my fingers on my hip bones over there. As I start to take the knee out, can I feel my hips moving? Or do my hips stay completely forward facing? And it might mean you can't take that leg as far. You're going to take it as far as you can with control and keeping that hip alignment. And then work this glute to try and take it further. If you want to go one step further, you're going to take the knee to the top. Now, often you lose your trousers with this one. So sometimes the tree pose doesn't like certain leggings. So in the summer it's quite nice when you've got skin on skin. So it might mean you need to roll your leggings up. But you can grab the foot and you put it on the inside of the thigh. So that supporting leg's still a little bit soft. I'm not on the knee joint. I'm lifting. And then from here, you're trying to send that knee out to the side without the pelvis twisting. Okay? Now make sure you're reaching out of this hip so you're not sinking there. Tree pose. And now, different arm positions. You can hold it here. You can bring your hands into prayer position at the front of your heart. So the thumbs are on the sternum. And just gently engaging the hands together. You can take the hands out to the side. And if you squeeze your fingers, you'll feel a little bit of integrity coming into the body. So you'll feel this connection along the arms and down. You can take the arms up. You can do prayer up, which I'm not keen on for my own shoulders. Take it there. Whoop. But keep lifting. Now, when you wobble, like I just did, chances are you're coming into the outer edge of the foot. So if you find you're a little bit wobbly, try and bring your weight back into the ball of the foot. Okay? So things that can affect your balance. If you suffer with vertigo or anything like that, if you've got a cold, because your balance comes from your ears and your eyes, but your ears. So if you've got a cold, that might affect your balance. There's medication that can affect your balance. There's also bunions. So if you've got, I don't know why I'm using my hand. If you've got bunion on the side there, sometimes it makes your toes go in the other direction. That will affect your balance. Fallen arches will affect your balance because it means your ankle and your knee alignment is not in the right place. If you've ever broken your ankles, like I've had 2 falls, 2 separate occasions, both, no alcohol was involved. Fell in a hole up on Dartmoor on that foot, and I fell down the stairs on that one. And if you hurt your tendons and ligaments, this is like 5 years ago, and it still hurts. So old injuries can come in. And then there's something called equinus foot. Now, equinus foot, so equinus is horse. it's almost like the bones have grown like that. Rather than long, they've grown like that. And it can be quite hard to see in standing, but when people are lying down, then you can actually see it. And the foot is like, it almost looks like it's pointing away from you. Now, for someone with Aquinas foot, for them to do a balance or a squat, if you had to put something under the ball of the foot, it feels like they're standing like that for that person. So if you feel like you're always off balance, then maybe put a little bit of padding under your heel, and that can try and help straighten you up a little bit and feel like more balance. And then another thing is foot size and foot shape. So I've had a client who was 5'11" and had size 4 feet. There's no way she's going to balance. She had to walk down the stairs sideways, because if she walked down straight, she'd fall down. So foot size and shape can also make a big difference in your balance. So again, it's trying not to compare yourself to other people around you. They might have the perfect balancing foot. It's wide and it's long. Like my feet are quite skinny and they're long. Toes, I've got long toes, that's going to help for balance. Some people have got really short toes. That's not the best for balance. So try not to look at balance as you're good or you're bad. Just play with it. Just enjoy this whole idea of not thinking about anything else, because you can't think about anything else when you're trying to balance. And just really be mindful of, oh, how's my foot moving? Oh, I'm wobbling. Oh, I can see I've moved onto the outside. Oh, I've lost my bums aren't working. Oh, my tummy. Focus on that rather than, oh my God, I'm so shit because I can't balance. Okay, this, there's no such thing as good or bad. There just is. And that's it. You've got tree pose and a little bit of philosophy. So take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.